I'm already a millionaire in my mind. I may not see it yet, but I believe it now. In the same way a seed is called by its finished form, I'm accepting my divine inheritance as a child of God. I'm meant to have life and have it more abundantly. My treasure on earth shall correspond directly to the treasure in the heaven of my mind. Abundance is my birthright. Ashe, amen, and so it is. My name is Jullien Gordon, and I'm author of Rich and Righteous: Spiritual Secrets to Mastering Money, Manifestation, and Your Mind. After becoming a multimillionaire through real estate investing, I was moved by God at the beginning of the pandemic to share my money mindset that allowed me to quit my job in January of 2009 at the bottom of the last recession and achieve full financial freedom. I own my mental real estate before I own any physical real estate. This book is like some of your favorites: Rich Dad, Poor Dad, As a Man Thinketh, Think and Grow Rich, and the Bible all in one. But the divine downloads and thoughts that are in here are 100% original and came to me over a 6-month period at the beginning of the pandemic. This book is normally $100 on Amazon if you went there right now, but I want to give you access to it for free by inviting you to our next reading group. Yes, the reading group is 100% free. Every weekday for 100 days straight, I'll be reading and discussing the 10 money commandments in the book that make money come to you in your life easily, more frequently, and abundantly. And it will take about 30 to 45 minutes as we read 3 to 5 pages per day until we finish the book and reprogram your mind around money. Why 100 days? Well, if you are 30 years old, you've lived for 10,950 days. And we have to deprogram and reprogram the negative, scarcity-based money mindset society has taught you. And I believe I can do that in just 1% of the time in about 100 days. I'm done with shelf help. You know, when you buy a book to change your life, but you never read it, it just sits on your bookshelf and collects a whole bunch of dust. We off that. When is the last time you had an author actually read their book to you out loud because they cared about you getting the information in your soul? I'm not just here to get this book in your hands. More importantly, I want to get it in your head and your heart, because that's where the real transformation occurs, in the conscious and the subconscious mind. As scripture says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. This is not the type of book that you just read once. To renew the subconscious mind requires repetition over and over and over. So if you joined us last time, I encourage you to join us again. I myself have read this book over 10 times already. So click the link to join our next reading group, and when you sign up, I'm going to give you the first 2 chapters of the book for absolutely free on what is money and abundance is your birthright, so that you can start your journey to a more abundant life today. Rich Rising. Welcome to another day of Read Rich and Righteous. We're reading Rich and Righteous: Spiritual Secrets to Mastering Money, Manifestation, in Your Mind. We are now on week 10. We are on day 47, and today we are reading the 6 forms of capital creation. The 6 forms of capital creation. This is really important because God typically doesn't give us things directly. God gives us the raw materials that we can then use to create and manifest whatever we desire. And those raw materials not only include external things, but also things inside of us that we must cultivate and refine as asset alchemists. And so that's what we're going to be covering today. So excited to see the 47s in chat, the people who have been here every single day consistently. We also want to welcome any newcomers that are here. Go ahead and type 0 in chat if you are brand new to the community. Welcome. At the end of the day, you will have a 1. The consistency score is what we use to track how consistent we've been along this 100-day journey. There will be 72 readings in total over a course of 100 days. And so this is part of the 100-day money mindset reprogram. If you are joining us for the first time, you can go to richrightnow.com, to join the challenge for absolutely free. All right. And then on the thank you page, you can get the ebook, audiobook, and all the replays that you've missed of these readings, or you can get a physical copy of the book as well as the audiobook and the replays of all the readings that you've missed, so that you can catch up and get your consistency score up. Even if you came in the middle and your consistency score is only in the teens or the 20s or the 30s, you can also go get the ebook or digital package, and that will give you the replays so that you can catch up and get to 72 by the time we get to the end. All right. So we have an amazing chapter here today, and I'm really excited about it because this divine download came to me about 10 years ago as I was looking at these various forms of capital that we use to create financial capital in our life, and it stuck with me, and it keeps getting better and better and better as I refine this information and translate it to you, translate these divine downloads to you. And so I'm just so grateful to be used in this way, and I'm excited to read this particular chapter. In fact, we'll be breaking this chapter into, this is one of the meatiest chapters in the book, so we'll actually be breaking it into 3 parts. So this will carry us all the way through Wednesday, day 47, 48, and 49. And then we'll have 2 additional readings on Thursday and Friday. Okay. So type I got it when you got it. Type I got it when you got it and you're ready to read. Also, Rich and Righteous graduation is coming up. That's December 9th. That is the last Saturday of the readings. That's where we'll read the conclusion of the book, have test of monies, and people sharing their experiences. And we decided to do it actually live in Atlanta. We're going to do a live graduation in Atlanta, December 9th. You can go to rrgraduation.com. That's rrgraduation.com. All right. All the details are there. I would love to see you, meet you in person. I'm going to be signing books. Everybody who attends is also going to get a thank account. This is my gratitude journal. It's a 91-day gratitude journal and program that I created, and everybody who attends will be getting this as a gift. All right. I will have Rich and Righteous and Rituals workbooks on hand. I'll be signing books. I just look forward to meeting you. We built this amazing community online for the past, it's about 2 months now, and it'll be 3.5 months by the time that we're done. And I look forward to actually meeting you all in person. Of course, we also have a Generational Wealth Conference coming up in January as well, and I would love for you to attend that. But either way, I want to connect with you in person within the next few months. All right. So with that, let's get into it. Yes, it's rrgraduation.com. rrgraduation.com. All the details, RSVP. Get your tickets there. I think the limit is 150 people. We found a venue for 150. So pull up. Those of you in Atlanta, of course, I know you're going to be there. And those of you who are going to fly in for that weekend, I would love to see you. Okay. So, and meet your other brothers and sisters who are living rich and righteous in their lives. All right. Cool. So let's get into today's reading. We're on page 246. Page 246, the 6 forms for capital creation. The scripture for the day is 2 Peter 1:3, and it says, His divine power has given us everything. His divine power has given us everything we need for a godly life through our knowledge of Him who called us by His own glory and goodness. Right? Does it say He gave us some things that we need? No. His divine power has given us everything we need to live a godly life. Everything we need. There is nothing left out. Everybody type that in. There is nothing left out. Batteries are included. You ever bought something, right? And you ready to use it and the batteries were not included? That's not how God operates. God gives us everything that we need to succeed, right? Why would God give us a purpose in our lives and then not give us everything that we need to succeed, right? Now, most of the things are going to be inside of us. There'll be some things that come to us through other people. But most of the things that we want in life, right? Most of the things that we want to come to us must come through us. Most of the things that we want to come to us must come through us, right? And if they don't come through us, then they will come through other brothers and sisters, other children of God who are in their purpose and show up for you at that divine time. Okay. So we're on page 246. We're starting the reading. Many people think they need something outside of themselves to have what they want to have, when God has given you everything you need to succeed. While it is powerful when 2 or more people are gathered, initially, you don't need anyone else to achieve what you want to achieve. There is no external gatekeeper, only the mental gates you have closed that keep you limited. Right? So it used to be that if you wanted to be a musician, you had to go get a record label. It used to be that if you wanted to be an author, right, you had to go get a publisher. It used to be that if you wanted to get into beverages, that you had to tap into the supply chain and mafia of beverage suppliers, etc. Like there used to be all of these gatekeepers to get somewhere. It used to be if you wanted this kind of job, you need to go this kind of school, right? These gatekeepers are gone. Okay, they don't exist anymore, and you can take a more direct path to that what you want, right? The only gates, right, are the gates where the Garden of Eden was closed off, and it was blocked by the 2 cherubim, right? The wings of the 2 cherubims with I think knives or swords, right? Well, the cherubim are actually representations of our cerebrums, right? The left and the right cerebrum in our brain. That is now the gates that block us from the inner, right? The inner garden that is up here. All right. So if you've ever had a thought that nobody supports me, okay, I would challenge you by asking, is that true? If you've ever had the thought, nobody supports me, I would challenge you by asking, is that true? Have you called everyone in your phone? Have you called everyone in your phone contacts to tell them about what you're up to? Have you called them? So how can you use a statement, nobody supports me, when you have not talked to everybody? See how we use these blanket statements when one or two people reject us, one or two people don't believe in us. We take that evidence, right? We take that fact and then we apply it to everybody and we make it larger than it actually is. You have not actually talked to everybody. So how can you say nobody supports me? There may be one contact amongst your social capital, which we're going to talk about, right? There may be one contact among your social capital that could open the financial floodgates for you if they knew who you are and what you were up to. Instead of thinking, I don't have everything I need, consider asking yourself, have I used everything I already have? Anytime you lean towards, I don't have everything I need, right? Instead, turn the table and say, have I used everything I have? See, God does not give to you when you already have more than enough. So we have to actually use that which we've been given and then go back to the Mother, Father, God and say, I need more, right? When you're a child, you don't get more until your plate is empty. It is selfish and it is greedy to ask for more when your plate is still half full, right? So that's when your eyes are bigger than your appetite. If you didn't have what you needed, you would be permanently stuck until something outside of yourself freed you. By assuming that you must, I need you to assume that everybody say, I must have everything that I need. I must have everything that I need. By assuming that you must have everything you need to get to the next step, it causes you to look at what you do have instead of what you don't think you have, and to he who has more shall be given. Mark 4:25. You see how it works? We actually have to use everything we have first before we can get more. But some of you just want to have, right? Only use a little bit, have extra, and still be asking for more. Again, when we talk about that in the form of savings, that is your financial insecurity. You haven't even used the economic resource that you've been blessed with. And yet you want more. And you're going to hold it in a savings account where it's doing nothing. It is just dead presidents. And so that's actually for your financial insecurity, not for your financial security. You are thinking in your conscious mind, right? You're thinking that this is for my financial security, but from a godly perspective, it actually demonstrates your financial insecurity. So you haven't even used all the resources that you already have, yet you're asking for more. Okay? This is where you get stuck in many cases. You're not even using everything that are you using all of the time that you have wisely? Are you using all of the information and knowledge you have wisely? Are you using all of your gifts, talents, and strengths wisely? Are you using all of your personal contacts wisely? Are you using all of your brain to the extent that you can access it wisely? Right? They say we only use a small portion of our brain. So I've categorized what you already have into the 6 forms of capital to help you appreciate the abundance that is already within you and around you. As an asset alchemist, the way you put these 6 forms of capital together can help you manifest anything that you desire. God does not give you what you want directly. What you want to come to you must come through you. What you want to come to you must come through you. And so I believe that these 6 forms of capital are going to help you categorize and start to think, oh, I do have something in that form of capital. I do have something in this form of capital. Oh, wow, I have a lot to work with. That's what I want you to recognize here, right? So just think about this from a biblical context. God didn't give Noah a boat. Does God have the ability and the power to give a boat? Yes. But God manifests through who? Through man. God manifests through man. That's why the first 3 letters of manifestation are man. Manifestation cannot happen without man. Okay? So God did not give Noah a boat. Instead, it gave him what? It gave him trees and faith. It gave him something external and internal. Something external and internal. And then the 2 became 1, right? God didn't give Jesus 5,000 fish. Correct? God gave Jesus 2 fish. and what? Faith. So God gave Noah trees and faith. God gave Jesus fish and faith, right? God didn't give Joseph freedom from Pharaoh. Instead, what did God give him? God gave him the ability to interpret dreams and what? Faith. Gave him a gift to interpret dreams and faith, and that's what freed Joseph. God didn't give David victory over Goliath. God gave him a slingshot and a rock and what? And faith. Are you seeing how God does not actually give you directly what you want and desire, but God will give you the raw materials? As in Deuteronomy 8:18, it says, God gives us the ability to produce wealth. God doesn't give us wealth directly. God gives us the ability to produce wealth, right? And so it gives that song by Old Dirty Bastard a new meaning. Baby, I like it raw. Baby, I like it raw. Everybody type that. Baby, I like it raw. Get your minds out the gutter, y'all. Get your mind out the gutter. God gives us the raw materials, family. God gives us the raw materials to create and manifest that which we want. And as asset alchemists, we are meant to turn the raw into awe. We are meant to turn the raw into awe. Affirm that. I turn the raw into awe. AWE. I turn the raw materials into awe. We look at the pyramids, the Egyptians, right? Even though they demonized them in the Bible, which was incorrect, right? It wasn't the actual Egyptians. That's what people do to make you hate your history, right? They demonize you first to justify their actions and their behavior. So anyways, the Egyptians turn, right, raw material, limestone, the gifts of mathematics, right, and understanding of the cosmos into pyramids. God didn't just give them a pyramid. They took the raw materials that were outside of them and inside of them and actually created the pyramids, right? So, baby, I like it raw. Whole new meaning now, right? I'm going to spiritualize every song that you thought was corrupt and perverse and secular. I think that's what they call it. All right. So the first one we're going to get into is personal capital. Personal capital is how well you know yourself. These are the raw materials that are inside of you that you must cultivate. Personal capital is how well you know yourself. We're on the top of page 247. When anyone looks at you, they can't see your capital, your personal capital, because your personal capital lives where? Inside of you. It is the reason people want you on their team and to be associated with you because you're a great listener, you're wise, or you have great ideas. It's the reason your friends want you around them because you're very caring, very insightful, and because you're joyful and genuine. Your personal capital is made up of the inward characteristics that make you attractive to others internally, not externally, right? Your personal capital includes your awareness of your gifts, talents, strengths, weaknesses, purpose, passion, interests, and habits, okay? Now, notice I said your awareness. So these things are inside of you. They're already there, but you may not be aware of them, okay? You have gifts, you have talents, but you may not be aware of them. It also has to do with knowing what type of environments, motivators, and people you work well with and which ones you don't. So it's noticing what environments are best for you. Even though the environment is external, it's knowing how you produce at the highest level, right? This is self-awareness, knowledge of self, right? Knowing thyself is the key to success. In the Gospel of Thomas, a book that was left out of the Canaanized Bible, it reads, "And the kingdom of God is inside of you. Whoever knows himself will discover this. And when you come to know yourself, you will realize that you are sons of the living Father. But if you will not know yourselves, you will dwell in poverty, and it is you who are that poverty." I'm going to repeat that again. And the kingdom of God is inside of you. Whoever knows himself will discover this. And when you come to know yourselves, you will realize that you are sons of the living Father. But if you will not know yourselves, you will dwell in poverty, and it is you who are that poverty. You see why they left this book out? Because it gives you the real, right? The truth will set you free, and they don't want you to know the truth. There weren't many classes on college campuses to help you understand who you are. And most employers simply may not care who you are because they want to mold you into who they need you to be, right? You got a master's degree in this information and this information and that subject, but did you master yourself? Have you mastered yourself, right? You mastered all this information outside of you, but the most complex thing on earth is a human being. And have you mastered your own psyche, your own mind, your own emotions? Have you mastered those things? That is what is actually going to get you to success, not just mastery of the outside. When we combine the inward and the outward, that is the most powerful combination, right? Oftentimes, you have to explore these things outside of traditional education systems and work on them on your own through personal development classes, coaching, and challenging yourself. So we're doing this 100-day money mindset reprogram. It's a challenge, right? You are challenging yourself to say, I want to relate to money in a brand new way. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Okay. In ancient Kemet, okay, today known as Egypt, the foundation of modern day education, above the entrance of many temples appeared the phrase, man, know thyself. The word educate comes from the Latin word educare, which means to mold or train, and educere, which means to lead out, right? The education system has primarily been built on the first definition, okay? Right? The first definition meaning to mold or to train, right? But educere, the second definition, is to lead out. So the first type of education is, I need to put these things inside of you because you're incomplete or you don't know enough. And the second is, I'm going to draw that information and that wisdom from within you. Okay. So the education system has primarily been built on the first definition. Now it is time for the second meaning to come to the forefront if you are going to be at the forefront of your life. Training is importing the ways of the world into you. And we know that we're not meant to be conformed unto this world, right? But be ye transformed by the renewing of our mind. Knowledge of self is how you export who you are into the world. And we talked about that. I'm an exporter of God's good. I'm an exporter of God's good. I'm an exporter of God's good. God has placed all the good inside of me. Said, let there be light. And it was good. Made this and it was good. Made man and it was good. It was all good. It was all good just a week ago. As spiritual beings having a human experience, we are meant to be in the world, but not of it. So we're not supposed to become so limited by the conscious mind and by the flesh that we think that this is actually who we are. This is a representation. This is an avatar of who we are, because when this temporary physical experience ends, we go back to spiritual form. We go back to spirit. We are spiritual beings having a human experience, right? So that is who you are, the part of you that does not change. Even though this life may seem long, this is still temporary in the scheme of things, right? This is just a little dot on the timeline. And remember, in God, there is no time. Time is a man-made concept. Money is a man-made concept. So we're down here wrestling with man-made concepts and ideas, right? And our spirit is trying to integrate. It's kind of like if I grew up on flatlands, but now I go to Denver, Colorado, and I'm a mile up in the sky, and I have to run there. Let's say I'm a runner and I've ran on flatlands all my life. Now I'm running in Denver, right? I have to adjust to that environment. I have to acclimate to that environment. Okay, there's nothing wrong with me, right? This is just who I am based on where I'm from. And now I have to acclimate to that new environment. And so that's what our spirit is doing here. And sometimes it takes a lifetime to acclimate. This is why sometimes it takes a lifetime to acclimate. Second paragraph, page 248. With personal capital, there's a caveat, which is that your personal capital often comes so naturally to you that you don't even recognize that it is a gift. It just comes so easily to you. And you think that everyone can do what you do. We think I can breathe, so everyone else must be able to breathe too. I can write poetically, and I assume that everyone else can do it too. It's not until somebody holds up a mirror to you and says, that was amazing, or how did you do that, that you start to recognize that you have a unique ability in a particular area. So those are kind of key words that I need you to listen for when somebody's responding to something that you created and an expression that you've made in the world. What comes easily and naturally to you may seem like rocket science to everyone else around you. Listen for that feedback because it is a sign that you have personal capital that you will likely want to build your life around. See, the goal is not to be like everyone else. That's what traditional education has taught you to do, right? They want you to have A's in every subject. But when you look at the world's most successful people, they didn't get A's in every subject, right? They mastered one or two in life. All you have to do is master one or two subjects in order to be successful. But modern day education tries to get you to be good or average in every single thing. You come home with 5 A's and 1 F. What do they tell you to focus on? They tell you to focus on the F. So while you're focused on the F, right, trying to bring your weakness up, what happens to the things you were strong at? They go down. That's the formula to average. Focusing on your weaknesses is the formula to average. So literally, you just need to find the one thing or two things that you do well, uniquely, and great, uniquely, and build your life around those unique traits, attributes, skills, and subject mastery. That's all you have to do. It's easier said than done, right? Of course, we know that there's the 10,000 hour rule to achieve mastery at something, right? But that is the goal. You remember Planet of the Apes? Why was Caesar so powerful? Caesar was so powerful, right? Because he could talk and speak English. Him and one other chimp could actually speak English. So that was his unique trait, and that's what made him so powerful, right? But we live in a world that teaches us monkey see, monkey do. Oh, they got an A in science. Look at me. I got an A in science too. Oh, they got an A in math. Look at me. I got an A in math too. Oh, they got an A in English. Look at me. Or like we live in a monkey see, monkey do society where we're trying to be like everyone else, or we're trying to be conformed to one type of archetype. But in reality, you just have to find the one or two things that make you unique and build your life around those two things. And oftentimes, many people think that many people are ashamed of actually their uniqueness. Let's say you just happen to be tall, right? Some people are ashamed of that because everybody else is short. But that's what makes you unique. So how do you build your life around that tallness? Or let's say that you have a interesting way of looking at the world, or for instance, like Richard Pryor, Dave Chappelle, right? They have interesting ways of looking at the world. And like I said before in a previous chapter, that may have been identified as a class clown, right? This person is not attentive. This person disrupts the class, etc. And it has more attention than the teacher has. And so they get in trouble for that. But then when you actually hold on to that, you don't let what happened in junior high school or high school kill you, because you kill your dreams because you got sent to detention for disrupting the class. You realize as an adult, that's actually what makes me unique and how I'm going to build my livelihood. So some of you have been taught to be ashamed of the thing that makes you unique because you're not like everyone else. I'm asking you to double down on that thing that makes you unique. Am I talking to anybody? All right. All right. Know thyself, the third paragraph on page 248. Know thyself also means knowing what your conditions of success are. You are the guard inner, right? You guard your inner of your mind, but you also have the power to shape your external environment too. In other words, what types of environments do you thrive in? Knowing that is really, really key. It actually demonstrates your knowledge of self. Pineapple trees don't grow in Alaska. Pineapple trees don't grow in Alaska. That isn't their optimal environment. If you were to try to plant a pineapple tree in Alaska and it didn't grow, you may be inclined to blame the seed when in fact it was the soil and surroundings. The seed is you, and there is nothing wrong with the seed in the same way that there's nothing wrong with you. The soil is your inner environment, right? Or your mind. And your surroundings are the things outside of you that you can't always control, but that you can notice either help you or hurt you, right? So when I'm talking about environment, actually, we're going to get into it a little bit more, okay? So a pineapple tree or seed trying to be planted in Alaska, somebody might look at it and say, oh, you suck. You're not growing. You're not producing any fruit, etc. But there's nothing wrong with the seed. The seed was just placed in the wrong environment. Now, again, environment is external. EN environment, right? The one that begins with EN is external, and we can't always control it. So we want to have the greatest conditions of success that we possibly can that increases our probability of bearing the most fruit. But we're not always in full control of the environment, EN. What we must be in control of and master over is our environment, IN, right? Our inner environment. Right. And so we have to cultivate that. And based on where you've had your greatest successes in life, you have to start to identify what are the characteristics of environments that I need to be in that actually allow me to produce at the highest level possible. For instance, do you thrive best when you are working alone or on teams? That's an example of environment. Are you more focused when you are in a log cabin or in a brainstorming group? Are you more focused when you go away and are distant somewhere and you're able to lock in? Or do you like being in brainstorming groups, right? War rooms where you're throwing ideas on dry erase boards with a lot of people. Can virtual work for you, or do you need to be in the same room with people? Do you really value the human connection, being able to look somebody in the eye? Or can you produce virtually? You have your own home environment, your home office, like in COVID, right? Were you more productive then, right? Are you an early bird or a night owl? Are you aware? Go ahead and chat. Let me know. Are you an early bird or a night owl? Because if all these Instagram reels are saying, oh, you got to wake up at 5 a.m. to be successful, but for some reason you've noticed that you create best at night when everybody else is asleep, you're more nocturnal, then you have to go with what works best for you, right? How do you show up when you meditate and exercise in the morning versus when you don't? Those things shape your inner environment. How is your clarity of thinking when your house is messy? I know some people who actually are masterminds when their house is messy. Their house is messy because they're in this zone. But then I know there's some people who, if their house is messy, they can't think clearly, right? What types of foods give you the most energy? That's taking something from your external environment and putting it inside your internal environment. And so what foods actually produce the best thought for you? Are you more excited when you were considering the larger vision or digging through the small details? We say heaven is in the details here. There are some people who are visionaries and want to see it from 30,000 feet up. There's some people who like to be in the weeds and they enjoy it there. Which one are you? How much sun do you need? Yeah. How much sun do you need? That vitamin D, how much do you need? Do you like being in front of the stage or backstage? Not everybody's meant to be in the front on camera like I am. I have an amazing team of people who are backstage, and some of them like it there. Some of them ultimately want to be in the front, but for right now, they're in the back and they're doing absolutely great, okay, at what they do. And so identifying your preferences. Do you communicate best through writing, speech, or visuals? How do you communicate best, right? Do you feel better in warm climates or cold ones? I'm Jamaican, or I'm Jamaican. So I like warm climates. I do not like the cold. That's why I left the Northeast. Do you like autonomy or authority? Do you like the ability to have self-efficacy and actually create your work day? Or do you want authority? Do you want somebody to tell you exactly what to do? And it's okay. There's no judgment. It's finding out what is best for you. Do you need to be led? How often do you need feedback? Do you need feedback like in the moment every single day? Or let you run, then give me feedback. Let you run, then give me feedback. Are you motivated by competition, metrics, money, or are you self-motivated? What actually drives you to perform at the highest level? All of these questions speak to the environmental and the environmental conditions of success that allow you to be your best, and your answers reveal how well you know yourself. Okay, so these are examples. So I encourage you to explore your conditions of success. And I believe that is a exercise in the Rituals Workbook. All right. So we're going to move on to the second form of capital now. We're moving on to the second form of capital now, intellectual capital, right? What you know. So personal capital is how well you know yourself. Intellectual capital is what you know. Intellectual capital is what you know. This includes your expertise in one or two subjects or skills. When you walk into any room, what subject would you feel comfortable speaking on in front of anyone for an hour? You don't even have to know who's in the room, but just because of your past experience, this subject is the thing that I could speak about best for an hour. Or what skill can you do well and replicate success more than the average person? Even if you went to college and graduated with a major and minor, doesn't mean that you have any intellectual capital. That is the deception. I don't care about your degrees. Many people graduate, right? Many people graduate, and if you stop them on stage, right? And in fact, that's what I was saying. Most people, for most people, their major didn't matter. If you stop college graduates on stage at graduation and ask them to lecture for 1 hour on what their diploma says they majored in, most couldn't do it, which means that they have no intellectual capital. Some of you just went to college just to get the degree, just to get the diploma, not to get the information, not to master anything. You ain't got a lot to kick it. I know. You did what you did to pass the test. You crammed for exams. And once you left the exam room, what happened to the information? Poof, be gone. Right? You didn't really go there to master anything. You went there to pass the class so that you could get the 10-cent diploma. Right? You got the expensive 6-figure piece of paper, but have nothing to really show for it. But some pictures and some memories, some parties, but no real intellectual capital over a 4-year period or whatever your master's program was. No real intellectual capital. That's not the college's fault, family. That's not the college's fault. That was on you, not putting in the work. Now, granted, let's say you didn't want to master what your major was. That's fine. But in your other time available, because you only had about 12 to 14 hours of class per week, what did you choose to learn? College was a rare space and time where you had control over your schedule. You weren't in class 40 hours a week. Yes, you had class and assignments, but what else were you learning? What did you choose to learn if there was no major on campus that aligned with who you wanted to be and what you wanted to learn? Right? That was a valuable time that many of us wasted. But it's okay. It's in the past now. That was liberal arts education. You got through it. You got the degree. Now we're focused on liberation arts education, which is what's going to free us, right? Liberal arts education will cost you. Liberation arts education will free you. Page 250, second paragraph. As professionals, we start to develop skills related to our jobs, but the risk is getting great at what you hate. Listen to that. As professionals, we start to develop skills related to our jobs, but the risk of that is getting great at what you hate. Here's why. When you get great at something you hate, you attract more of it. When we talk about what money is attracted to, it's attracted to greatness. And you, over time, have gotten great at something that you hate. And so, because you're great at it, people now know you for it. And now more of what you hate comes to you because you got great at it. They say if you want something done, give it to a busy person, right? Instead, you might as well focus on getting great at what you want to be great at. That's the alternative. Get great at what you want to be great at. Money is attracted to greatness. Period. So where are you seeking greatness and excellence in your life? Can't just use hashtag Black excellence, etc. and you not actually be pursuing excellence in any area of your life. The time commitment will be equal. I'm sure you've heard of the 10,000 hour rule in Malcolm Gladwell's book Outliers. It takes approximately 10,000 hours to truly master something. Mastery doesn't come passively. It is deliberate. You have to be intentional about any skill or subject you want to master. The beautiful thing about seeking mastery is that not only do you master the skill or the subject, you also master the process of mastery and you master yourself along the way. So you master the subject, you master the process of mastery, and you master yourself along the way. And what do I say? Be God to yourself. Love yourself as God loves you. Be master over yourself in the way that God is master over you, right? So we're seeking self-mastery. And so you can actually get to self-mastery by seeking to master something. You start to understand how mastery actually works, and you can apply that to other areas of your life. This is why you see some people who know multiple languages. They mastered one language, right? And then they were able to take that process of learning that language and apply it to another one and another one and another one. I think it's called a polyglot, right? Somebody who knows multiple languages. Then you see people who know multiple instruments. They took the mastery of one instrument, the piano, the clarinet, the flute, etc., and then they applied that to mastering the next instrument and the next instrument, and it got easier and easier and easier. Not because they just mastered the piano, but because they also mastered the process of mastering an instrument, which then made learning more instruments easier. Because there's a lot of overlap and understanding, of how these melodies and how these instruments work, okay? And how music works in general, and then how they work. So everybody type this: money follows mastery. Money follows mastery. But people want the interest without making the investment. Financially, interest is the money you get as a result of an investment. Interest attracts you, but you can only get it through making the investment of money and committing to mastery. So money follows mastery, but people want interest without making the investment. So some of you want to be paid abundantly, right? But you're not making the investment in mastering anything. Financially, interest is the money you get as a result of an investment. You want interest without making an investment. Interest attracts you, right? It attracts you. The interest you have in making money, the interest you have in this particular field of work, etc., it attracts you. But you can only get it through making an investment of money and committing to mastery. You can't have interest without investment. You cannot have interest without investment. Okay? So if a guy is interested in you, if he's not making an investment, guess what? Deuces. If a woman is interested in you and she's not making any investments, guess what? Deuces. You can't get interest from me. You can't get a return on something you did not invest anything in. Okay? It's two ways. It's a two-way street. You can't want $1 million out when you haven't put 10,000 hours in. You cannot want $1 million out when you have not put 10,000 hours in. You reap what you what? You reap what you want? Does it say you reap what you want, y'all? Is that what the scripture says? You reap what you want? No, it says you reap what you sow. You reap what you sow. If you haven't discovered what interests you, I found that anything that you are heavily invested in will become interesting. So you have to invest in something in order to find interest. Don't wait passively for an interest to find you. Invest until you find something interesting. So keep trying, okay? List out the things that you're interested in. Start at number 1. Go hard. Say, I'm going to commit to this for 30 days and I'm going to see how far it goes. If you fall off after 3 days, then guess what? You weren't that interested in it. That might have been a program that other people put in you. Like society was saying you should be interested in this, right? You should be interested in AI, right? And so you do a deep dive in AI and you commit to 30 days. And if you fall off in 3 days, then guess what? That's not really your interest. Yeah, it may be a hot topic now, but it wasn't really your interest. So then you cross that out, go to the next thing, right? Okay. I'm interested in financial spirituality. Okay. You do a deep dive. You're doing a deep dive with me. Many of you are still here beyond 30 days. This is something that's really interesting you, right? And so I want you to go deeper and deeper and deeper. Are you understanding? I'm interested in black families staying together, right? Do a deep dive. Get all the books, right? Watch all the videos, etc. And if you fall off after 3 days, then you weren't that interested in it. Cross it off. No judgment. Keep going until you find what you're truly interested in. Is this making sense? So don't wait passively for interest. Oh, I don't know what I'm interested in. Okay. How are you actively going and finding that thing? Because that finding out what you're interested in is actually what's going to lead to more financial interest in your life, return on investment in your life. All right. So in a moment, I'm going to show you how to discover your passion using the passion finder. Actually, we're going to do that tomorrow. All right. And I have a deeper exercise that I guide people through. In fact, I may actually do the passion finder at the graduation because that's a deeper exercise. Tomorrow I'm going to read about it, but the actual process of doing it, I may do that as a workshop at RR graduation. All right. So go to rrgraduation.com. So that event is going to be, it's going to be testimonies, right? Testimonies, right? Where people are sharing. That's what the initial intention was. I'm going to teach a little bit, right? I think it may be the passion finder, because I really need you to know what your passion is. And then, of course, we have to find a problem that we're passionate about solving. But we also need to get clear on our skill set, and book signing and all of that. So I'm probably going to teach the passion finder. I think that would be really, really good for you all to identify your most high offer and the skill set, the passion that you want to turn into actual skill. How many of you would be interested in that? So I'm going to do a short teaching and workshop at our graduation. So we're going to read the final chapter of the book. I'll do a teaching. We'll get to testimonies. Then we'll do a book signing and go from there. All right. So that the agenda is going to be something like that. All right. Cool. So we're on the top of page 251. We have about 1 page left for the day. Below is the skills value matrix. This is a divine download that came to me, right? And if you don't have the book, let me show it to you. This is the skills values matrix, all right? It will help you identify where all of your skills fit in terms of the value ladder. The vertical spectrum measures how easy or how hard a skill is to master. The horizontal spectrum measures how many people have the skill. I've only found that one skill that many people have that is also difficult to do, and that is giving birth, okay? I've only found one skill that is difficult to do, but many people have done, and that is giving birth. Unfortunately, you don't get paid for that unless you are giving birth to other people's children as a surrogate mom for $25,000 or more, okay? So you can get paid for that, but unfortunately, most people don't. You have skills, but most of them are likely in the lower half of the matrix, meaning that you will not be able to capture a ton of value for them. It's competitive and cutthroat below that line. It is the basic economics of supply and demand. The more people that can do something increases the supply, and without the demand changing, the lower the price or value of that skill will be. All right. So, for example, in the lower left-hand corner, we have lots of people can do it. It's very easy. So many of you are on social media, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, etc. You're on social media, navigating social media. It's a skill, right? It is an actual skill, but it's relatively easy and a lot of people can do it, right? So you can't get paid for just navigating social media. Now, if we go to the lower right-hand corner, which is skills that very few people can do, but that are still relatively very easy, that's run a social media ad. It does not take you long to learn how to run an ad. Now, learning how to run a profitable ad, that's more difficult. But anybody can go learn how to put up an advertisement on social media, okay? Not that hard. Maybe an hour to 2 hours on YouTube, following the instructions, you can get an ad running, okay? Now, upper right-hand corner, which is where we want to be, above the line, which is very few people can do this, and it's very difficult. So that means the learning curve is a lot longer, right? That is growing and monetizing a $100,000 social media page. Not many people can do that. So guess what? Which of these skills is most valuable? It's the one in the upper right. Somebody who knows how to grow and monetize a $100,000 page, whether they're selling products through drop shipping, whether they're selling coaching services, whether they're selling a book, etc. That is an example of growing and monetizing a page. It's more valuable than just learning how to run social media ad or campaign or manage a social media account, right? And it's way more valuable than just anybody being able to navigate social media. Now, navigating social media could be valuable perhaps to an elder who wants to be connected to their old friends, right? Or their grandchildren and be able to follow them. Learning that skill set could be valuable to that person, but it's not going to be extremely valuable. Is this making sense? Is this making sense? Okay? So that's the skills values matrix. I just walked through it. I walked through this paragraph just now, but I'll read it just so we can conclude out. So let's say you love social media. Most people think social media is a waste of time from a monetary standpoint, but it can be extremely valuable when viewed from the proper perspective. Navigating social media would be in the lower left. Many people can do that, and it's easy. Setting up a social ad would be in the lower right. Many people don't know how to do this, though it is relatively easy. It takes some learning. You can learn how to get an ad up and running in a couple of hours by watching videos on YouTube. It may not be a great ad, but the basics can be learned relatively quickly. Growing a following or fan page or group from 0 to 100,000 followers or more would be in the upper right. That takes real skill, and it takes time to learn that skill. That's why social media marketing managers can get paid over $100,000 per year. And an even greater skill than that is knowing how to monetize that social media following to create a sustainable online business. There's nothing wrong with loving social media and being on it often. The question is, do you know how to solve difficult problems for others in the environment of social media? Okay? Do you know how to solve difficult problems for others in the environment of social media? Okay? So I use social media because I know that's where many of us have found each other. That's how you found me. Many of us spend time there. And most people, probably 98% of people, don't make money off the time that they spend on social media because they don't have a skill set that is valuable in that environment. But there are skill sets that are valuable in that environment, and there are people who are paid abundantly as a result of that. So it does not matter what you love. It's really about finding the skill set, right, that solves difficult problems for other people in that environment, and then that allows you to play in that environment like you've been playing. You've been spending, if we added up how many hours you spend on social media in your life and how much you got paid, that's a low return on investment. So I'm just showing you that these things, some things are not waste of time. They're waste of time for most people, but not all people. All right. So we're going to stop there in the middle of the intellectual capital section, and we're going to get into the passion finder tomorrow. I'll be walking you through how to uncover your passion. We won't go into detail because that's a longer exercise. That's literally like a 90-minute workshop that I teach to do that. And then we have to do the problem finder, right, to find the problem that pairs with that passion. So we're going to just touch on it tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll be on 252 to 258. So we'll get through social capital. We'll get through social capital and actually start financial capital tomorrow. All right. And so, like I said, we are going to do graduation on December 9th. It'll be in Atlanta live. You can go to rrgraduation.com. That's rrgraduation.com and reserve your seat for that. We found a venue for about 150 people. And I shared with you the agenda just moments ago of what we're going to do during that experience. I would love to meet you in person and be able to sign your books and just connect as community. You know, we are creating the world's wealthiest family, 100,000 families with $1 million net worth. That would be $100 billion. That would make us the 5th wealthiest family in the world today. And so this is just the beginning, and you were here on the ground floor. And so I would love for us to actually connect in person. I don't want just this family to be virtual. I want it to be in person, real, genuine community. And so this event, this graduation, we could have done it on Zoom, but we decided we're going to try to do it in person and see how it ends up. I'm excited about it and I can't wait. So I'm looking forward to it. And that is in about a little over a month. All right. So with that, go ahead and type your greatest takeaway in chat. Go ahead and type your greatest takeaway in chat. Everything that I want to come to me must come through me, right? My personal capital, right, is how well I know myself. My intellectual capital is what I know. Yes, I can't want $1 million without putting in 10,000 hours. I need to find the skill that is unique to me, like Caesar from Planet of the Apes, right? Don't be ashamed of what makes me different. Don't be ashamed of what makes me different. I have gifts inside of me, but I may not be aware of them. God doesn't give us the thing. He gives us the tools. He gives us the tools. Yes, God didn't give Noah a boat. God gave Noah wood and faith. Remember, it's usually something external and something internal. It's usually something external and something internal, plus the ingredient, the mustard seed of faith. And that's what actually stirs the manifestation process. All right, family. I love you, love you, love you. I will be back here tomorrow. We will be back here tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll continue with this chapter on the 6 forms of capital. We'll finish out intellectual capital. We'll go into social capital and a little bit of financial capital. And we'll end this particular section of the book on Wednesday. All right. So go to richrightnow.com, if you're new to the family and want to just join the challenge. And for those of you who've been with us consistently and are going to be at graduation, whether you're going to be there in person or virtually, go to rrgraduation.com. That's rrgraduation.com. Until then, be God to yourself, meaning love yourself as God loves you. Master yourself, as we talked about today, as God is master over you. And finally, remember that you are God in your own life. You are first cause, meaning that no individual, institution, or situation has more power over the future of your life than you. All right, family, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
I, Jullien Gordon, with this mortgage, relinquish part of my freedom to psych. I've been rent-free since I acquired my first multifamily property, a triplex in Brooklyn, New York, in May of 2013. And since then, I now own 16 multifamily properties with 40 doors that generate about $38,000 per month in rents in just 8 years on the side. Do not sign a 30-year mortgage. Get freedom for life when you buy a multifamily property. Did you know that the word mortgage literally means death pledge? The prefix mort is the same as mortician or mortuary. Listen to me. 44 million households rent, and 82 million single-family buyers think that they own, but they don't. HGTV will say, congrats, you're a homeowner. But that's not true. That's a lie. The moment you get the keys, you're a home buyer. And that is a huge difference. As a home buyer, you're still paying rent. It's not rent to a landlord. It's rent to the bank to use their money. That's called interest. You are borrowing the bank's money. Right? The interest on a $300,000 home at a 4% interest rate will be about $208,000 over 30 years. So that $300,000 house is actually a $508,000 house. What does that mean? That means that you're not only buying yourself a home, you're also buying a home for your banker. If this is you, I can help you get out of this by acquiring a multifamily property. Whether it is rent or a mortgage payment, most American housing expense takes up about 35% of their income. In times like this, when rents are rising, unemployment is rising, and inflation is rising, but wages are staying stagnant, you absolutely need to be rent and mortgage free. Imagine the freedom of never, ever, 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 ever having a housing expense for the rest of your life. If you want financial freedom, starting with your rent and your mortgage, like I did, then click the link below and register for my free webinar coming up on how to finance, find, and finalize multifamily real estate deals. It is actually not as hard as you may think, but keeping up with rising housing costs are. You need to be the receivers of rent, not the payers. Your time is now. Click the link below.